Okay. Watch an advertisement. When it stops, we shall begin. Okay. Looks like we're all set. All right. Yep. Turn my mute on so I don't hear myself talking in the background. All right. So, this is being recorded, so if you're watching it later, welcome. And welcome to the ones that are here. Very good. I appreciate it. Okay, so this past 2 weeks, basically, been working on the Linux and the Macintosh. So we have both the Linux and the Mac up and running, and those are working okay at this point. There's some work that needs to be done on it. I really need some feedback from the Mac and the Linux users before I make too many changes. The main part of the software hasn't seen any changes for the past 2 weeks. Have been completely focused on the other two, but now that they are caught up, we're going to start making changes to the main part of the software again. So that is where we are. Wanted to take a look at a couple of things tonight. Going to go over some planet management and talk about the goals of planet management and how all that works together. So, all right, let's see if I've got a planet here. Oh, we found Steel Rat's planet. Oh, cool. Ah, yes, already starting to see some systems here. Okay, so I'm in a regular war out here. We were doing some testing with Matt at Matt Chat, and if you haven't seen that yet, that's a nice episode that we did with him. And let's go over to one of our planets. You can see I've taken damage. I've got one of my torpedo tubes out, and I've got some damage on the rear hull after playing some combat with Matt at Matt Chat. So kind of fun. That'll be in one of the upcoming episodes. He and I went at it for some combat and talked about how all that works together. So let's see what we can find here. We'll head over to our planet. That looks like it coming up. Well, that's not ours. That's somebody else's. We've got 400 light years to go. So, okay, as you can see, I've got a few systems scouted off to the left there. Those are blue. The ones that are white, I have not seen those yet. So if I hover over top of the blue ones, you'll see I know the data that's in those planets. If I hover over top of the white ones, I don't have any data, and you can see the little circle around the planet that we're headed to right now. And once we get there, we'll be able to head over to the planet that we own, and we'll take a look at the planet management. Now, I haven't touched this planet since I've first got it started, so we'll see if we've started off any colonists or anything at this point, because I haven't maintained it at all, because I've been working on the Macintosh. That was an interesting adventure. I didn't realize that the Mac and Linux were so closely tied to each other. Kind of find that to be an interesting thing. So, all right, let's get it up to the system up here, and we'll see if anybody else is going to come online. We've had several players playing over the past several weeks, and there's my planet, so I'll nav to him, and of course I can click on it over here. But this is a 96 hab 90 metal planet, so if I haven't messed up the economy, it should have grown nicely. So okay, so it hasn't grown very much. It's got 100,000 troops, so we've basically pushed out all the colonists for the troops, so we can make those adjustments. So I'm going to click on the planet, and we're going to go manage this planet. All right, and there's a bug I'm looking for right now that when you come back out of planet management, the ship's invisible. Now, the ship is visible, we just can't see it. So take a look at the planet settings. Let's turn conscription off. That is what's causing all our troops to come up. Okay, so we have 500,000 houses. We don't have very many colonists. In fact, the colonists are going down. Most likely, our agriculture doesn't have enough people in it, and so we don't have any food. Okay, so let's get some people back here real quick. So let's go to 10% into agriculture. Get those colonists coming back. There we go. Everybody's got food. So they came out of the woods and got back into their houses, which is important. Okay, they like to have food. So let's hover over agriculture here. You can see food's building up very quickly. So let's drop that back down. Basically, they move out of the houses and go into the farmland and fend for themselves. So we're going to drop that back down to 4%, which should be enough. And we'll take a look at how much food is it still building up. It's 196 in stock. Let it hit a couple of times here. 197. Okay, so food is going up, so that's important. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of the economy. So we've got 500,000, almost 600,000 people in construction. We don't have any basic industry. It's at 0.02. I neglected this planet, so we need to get some basic industry back. And we'll put 0.2 into basic industry, and he'll start building up some basic industry, hopefully, at this point. Metals is low. We're out of metals. Yep, I really neglected this poor little planet. There's no metal to pay anybody at this point, so we're going to have to make quite a few changes here. So we've got a lot of metal ore that's built up. You can see we've almost got 1 million metal ore built up. So if you neglect your planets, they keep working, but they ended up being in bad shape. So, okay. So, is there a way to fix this planet? Really doesn't look like it, because we've got way too many people. And the only thing I could probably really do right now is abandon this planet and go get another one, because it is beyond the point of repair at this point. Just not going to have enough people to move into mining and get them doing what needs to be done. So, all right. So I'm going to exit out of planet management. Okay. Oh, we got the ship. Okay. So the math, it's basically a math calculation error that we've got happening. So when you go into the planet management. So going to need to go back to, let's go back to our planet. And let's tell it that we want to repair. We've got to go into the dry dock to do a repair. So we'll go into that and we'll get repaired real fast. Okay. So let's enter the dry dock. And I can just double click, gets me back out. And you can see I'm fully repaired now because there's no bars. Do a load and torpedoes are loaded at this point. Okay, so let's exit this system. And let's see what other planets we have. So not looking for any colonies. I'm looking for something that is 90 to 100 hab. And so the best planet, actually there's a 98 hab right there. So let's go take a look at that one. And we'll set this one up so it does a little bit better than the other one and see what we can do. Mega Wars is all about the planet management. That's what you're scored on. So it's very important to make sure you get planets that are in good shape. And let's not waste anything here. So as we're flying over, let's launch some probes. Do some more scouting. And those probes are following me. There we go. Probes returned. Okay, so this planet's about 400 light years away. So it's going to take a minute to get over there. And Mega Wars, we go very, very fast. Can I keep launching probes? There's nobody else in space right now because it makes it kind of nice because it gives you a chance to explore and I have to worry about getting killed. All right, we're going to get up here in just a second. We'll establish a base, and then we'll talk about planet management a little bit better. I had set everything up incorrectly, so all right. There's that issue. Interesting. Okay, that was a bug. And so let me click on this planet again. It reset us back to the planet we were at last, and I'm going to need to find that one. Okay, so let's fly that 500 light years again. And do that one more time. Yeah, it's about 600 light years away. So go ahead and keep launching probes as we go. Probes move at warp 14, so you'll see them trying to catch back up with me, and some of them can catch back up, some cannot. And we'll keep launching probes as we go. And there we go. Okay, so we're warp 14, we're moving pretty good here. 250 light years to go. And this little thing is there because when you hover over planets, it pops up. And when you click on the planet, it's leaving it. So that's another little issue you have to find. It's amazing what you can find when you're doing demos and showing people how things work. Such fun. Okay, all right, we're coming up, getting back up to the system up here. Okay, so you can see our 98 hab over there, and it's this one. That's the one after that planet. Couldn't quite click on it right there. All right, so it's actually a planet A, which means this star most likely isn't a very powerful one. Okay. Yep. Oh, by the way, I got a little bit of tilt to the system when it's in a turn now. So that's new. Let's establish a base here. So it establishes a base. And let's talk about the planet management and set this up correctly this time. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to labor settings. All right. So basic industry. You always need a little bit of basic industry. And we're not going to build anything other than basic industry. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 3 dots in it. That will give me a 30%, 30%, and 30%, or 33 and point never ending threes. And then nothing in the rest of these because I really don't want to do anything. Actually, I do. I want to put 25%. Actually, let's do it this way. 2 dots, which means 50% will go into equipment and 50% will go into refinery robots. And let's take a look at mining. Are we building up ore fairly quickly? Yeah, we are. Now remember, oops, let's go back to ore. If there's no dots on any of them, then it's average. You need to stay over here so I don't click into that other one. So this everything will go into metal ore even though there's no dots. Workers are always working. So it's not that they're not working. So armaments, we're going to go to 0 here. We don't want any armaments. We don't want to build any shipyards. Don't want any civilian factories. I'm going to leave this at 4% in agriculture. That was one of the problems we had the last time. Don't want any government. 0, enter. There we go. All right, so that will give us 75% into construction. I think I can get a little bit more out of that. I think we can drop mining. This is a 63 metal. Let's watch metal ore for just a second. It's ticking up at about 0.2. Let's go to 12% and see what that looks like. See what that gives us. We want that to tick up slowly. Still ticking up pretty quick. Okay, so let's go to 10%. Okay, so that's 45, 44, Actually, it's decreasing. So 10% is not enough. If we go to an 11%, there we go. All right, so 60, 61, so looks around 10.5%, so 10.5. All right. So you can see the metal ores at 4.66, 4.67, 8. I want to increase a little bit slower, so let's try 10.4. Okay, so 70, 71. And so you can see we've got a nice balance. Okay, so now we've balanced it out at 10.39 or 10.4. It gives us 80 into construction. That allows us to do some building and that kind of thing. We have agriculture at 4%. That'll make sure as troops come in that they will have food and be able to do some things. Actually eat is the things that they do. I won't be building up any taxes on this base, so you can see I have the government at 0. Government is what gives you taxes and allows you to build from there. You use money to build ships, that kind of thing. Right now, growth is more important than anything else that we want to do. So, all right. So, labor settings, here again, I've got 1 dot in basic industry, 1 dot in refinery robots. So what happens is, as basic industry, as the workers work, half of their output will go to basic industry and refinery robots. And that will give us this increase in capacity. Now, mining is something that's interesting. I could throw, right now we're at 10.4, so we'll remember that value. I can throw 50% into mining. Oops, 50, enter. And you'll see here I have 5,000 workers, but I only have 2,400 capacity. Now, how does that work? If I did the same thing for basic industry, those workers would go down into unemployment. Well, mining is also is very similar to agriculture. You can put more in it than you need. So it's like throwing more workers on the farm. Okay, they'll still be productive, but they don't have any real equipment that they use. Miners, they've got some picks and some things like that, but those workers share that. Where the refinery itself, the refinery robots, is what the capacity is. So as I hover over this, you'll notice that we're ticking up metal ore at 30, 31, full units very quickly because those workers are just building up the ore. Now, this is what you would do is if you wanted to feed another planet. You would build up metal ore on a mule planet, transfer that ore over to one of your better planets. That planet won't have to have as many workers now. So it's an interesting balance of how you can use the resources off of one planet to grow another. So this has a very nice habitability of 98.23, as you can see over here on the left. This value right here, but its metal is not very good. It's one of the ones where I could use civilian factories to build consumer goods, but I don't know. I'm just going to leave it with mining for right now. Here again, I'm not playing competitively. This is mainly to explain how some things work. So let's go back to 10.4, which is our value that we were looking for just a minute ago. Puts 1,000 workers back in. But you can see we built up 60 metal ore very quickly. So I could take that 60 ore on my ship and fly it to another planet and then use the ore at that one. And that would mean 60 ore that planet didn't have to build. In the beginning of the game, there are times you may want to feed a planet so that it can grow. Well, that's how you can do it in the game itself. Grab the metal from here, move it to there. So let's look at basic industry again here real quick. If I did what I did just a second ago, and we put 50% into It won't let me do it. Actually, it did do it, but it maxes the value at 12.93. But those workers are down here in unemployment. So my 50% minus that gives me this. So as this grows and it makes more jobs, then, and you see we're just about have a new job ready. So you'll see 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and it'll finish up in just a second. And you can see these two builds. So the cost of these two is the same. And you'll see now we have 351. Okay, and that goes back to 0. That's only just counting to let you see how quickly it's growing. So as now I have one less worker here, he moved up to here. So as basic industry grows, those people that are unemployed now go into the job that they were told to work into. And that's one of the macro management features of MegaWars. Let's say I'm going to go away for a couple days and I want to build up the basic industry. I can put more workers in than there's capacity for. They will go into unemployment, but as soon as the jobs are available, they'll move in back into basic industry. So I'm going to set that back down to let's put 6% into basic industry. That'll give me enough of a growth factor that basic industry will be able to build itself and build the mining capacity at the same time. How do I know that value? Because I've played MegaWars for 30 years. And hopefully people will put information like that into the wiki so that everybody else can learn it too. Growing the planets is a fun thing to really learn to do, to build the colonists. I mean, we've had players, the average planet size in MegaWars is about 40 million population. We've had players get to 400 million because of learning the skills and feeding planets and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of challenges available for learning how to grow your colonies. So, and here again, that is one of the major things that MegaWars is all about, is growing the colonies. The colonies then turn around and provide you the voting shares or votes to get you elected to be president, or and it goes on a region basis to be the governor of that region. And I think that's it for planet management. Let's talk about surface guns and some defenses of your planet. So while your planets are online, they can be attacked by other players. And how you defend that planet is with surface guns, fighters, and troops. Okay, so you can see I've got some troops coming in right now. They're being conscripted out, basically drafted out of the colonists, and they're becoming troops. And then fighters, I can build fighters or I can buy fighters from the Imperial base and bring those. That is another use for the taxes. But since there's not anybody in this game, or if I move out into an area of the universe where there's not a lot of people around, then that those taxes don't need to collect the taxes. And if you got good alliances and no one's going to attack you, nobody knows what your defenses are, so you don't have to build those. The difference between a surface gun and a fighter, they both cost exactly the same, except fighters can be taken from planet to planet. Surface guns are entrenched weapons that are on the surface, and that's one of the things we're debating in the forums here very quickly, or one of the things we will debate on whether we want surface guns to be able to be moved or not. There have been discussions that surface guns should be movable, and I'm willing to talk about that. So we'll talk about that in the forums. But the thing is, right now we're trying to get everything running. I'm going to try to get the bugs out this week, and Thursday night we're going to start building our official demo video, and so that we can start showing the game to other people and let them see a fun video. All right, so I think that's it for planet management. We've gone over the basics of everything. The one last key that I'm going to leave you with is metal stocks. You want to keep that at about 10% of your colonists, and you want to make sure that you have food. And if you go to the warehouse, and that was the problem with the other one, we ran out of food and we ran out of metal. So there was no more metal to build any more houses, and there was no more food to feed the people. So all the colonists left their houses and went into the woods to fend for themselves. And then when food was available again, they all came back. So came back to the houses. So, all right, that is it for tonight's episode. If you own a Mac or you own a Linux machine, please download. Help us out with what we need to do to make those a little more playable. One of the things with the Macintosh, and this is a question I asked the Mac players, do we want to require a 3-button mouse, or is there another way to get around that? I don't use a Mac enough to be able to know how to answer that question, and so we're going to let that come from the players on how they want to do that. I'm perfectly willing to say you have to have a 3-button mouse for Mega Wars, so that's up to the people who are going to help us test. All right, I think that is it for tonight, and we've got about a half hour into this Twitch session, and that's going to be it for tonight. So be sure to catch us up on Matt Chat. If you haven't seen that, go to YouTube, look up Matt Chat space Dave Beatty, and then you should be able to see the latest episode of the one that I did with Matt. He did the first part, which is mainly the history of Mega Wars, and then we're going to, like I said, we're going to get into some combat and talk about some planets and some things like that. So, all right, good night.